Welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids pregame show. Tyler Raines here with all of the action for this afternoon as the West Kent Steamers are in from Bucktush to face off against the hometown Grand Falls Rapids. As usual, we have lots of topics to talk about, and that includes who gets the start tonight, or who should get the start tonight, rather. The matchup history between the two teams, as well as the predictions on who is going to win from you, the fans, and so much more on this show. Now, the first thing I want to mention here, and this is one that was much talked about ever since Friday night. So the Yarmouth Mariners were in town to face off against the Grand Falls Rapids in what was an incredible, dramatic, so action-filled game that ended in a shootout loss for the Grand Falls Rapids. Now, if you didn't see the clip, I want to talk about how it was a bit of a controversial goal that was allowed in that shootout. So I'm going to show you the clip, and I want you to tell me down below, was this a goal? Was it not a goal? I want to hear from you what your thoughts are on what was a controversial goal in that.
Up one after one round. Pittman up next. He's got 2 assists tonight. Pittman coming in wide and hold.
The next thing that I want to get into is the tail of the tape. West Kent is in town, and this is a big rivalry between these two teams. It's a division rival. West Kent's in second place in the division currently, sitting behind the Edmundston Blizzard, and the Campbellton Tigers rather are catching up to them at close speeds. So you look at the record between these two teams historically since the West Kent Steamers came into the league last year, relocated from South Shore. The Rapids are 1-8-0 against the Steamers since last season. And one of the big stats that I want to talk about here is in most of the game, or in a good chunk of the games, through those 9 games that they've played against West Kent so far, 50% of the time they have allowed the first goal of the game in the first 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes or less. So this is going to be a huge key to the matchup here is, do the Rapids have the energy to or the willpower to stop these goals from coming in the first couple of minutes here, because it seems to be that that's the Achilles heel when they play West Kent. And the reason why that's such a bad thing is because, as you know, and as pretty much all hockey fans know, if you allow a goal in the first minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes of the game, it sort of in a way sets the tone for that first period. And that's something that you want to try to avoid, obviously, early on. We talked about that earlier in the season, how the Rapids, those early goals have killed them. It stunts their momentum, forcing them to have to come back from absurd deficits sometimes, or sometimes not at all. It just halts the momentum in its tracks. That is one of the huge stats in this game against West Kent. Now, the other thing is that you have Damon Engelhut, who is one of the biggest difference makers from this team so far. And, if I'm being completely honest with you, this is not a team that is going to go lightly into the night. As you can see here, they are one of the top teams on the power play in the North Division at 24.4% compared to the Rapids 15.6%. Now, special teams may be a factor in this one. Now, we talked about how the last couple of games against Campbellton and Yarmouth and Miramichi, they weren't really factors that much, but this one is where you're really going to want to watch the special teams, because the West Kent Steamers have the second-ranked power play in the North Division. The Grand Falls Rapids, however, have the second-ranked penalty kill in the North Division at 81.8% on the season. Now, something that I want to note too is the goals for and the goals against for both teams. Obviously, the Rapids have been outscored 45-32 on the season, but the Steamers have outscored their opponents 40-37. Now, that's a good thing for them 5-on-5, but you look at the amount of power play goals that they've had on the season, it is quite a difference compared to the Rapids. You look at the amount of goals the amount of power play goals that they've had, West Kent currently has 10 power play goals for. So if you do the math real quick, that's about a quarter of their goals that they've scored on the season come on the power play. That is huge for the Rapids. So another key to the game would be staying out of the penalty box and making sure that you're eliminating those opportunities for them to score on the power play. Most of 75% of the goals that West Kent has scored is 5-on-5. But those are, again, just a bunch of really, really good, deadly players on that team that you're going to want to watch out for. I mean, not much can really be said about what you need to worry about. Dylan Andrews, Damon Engelhut, Kiefer Lyons. But on the flip side of that, you have Jeremy Dastu, you have Jonah Leard, you have Caleb McDonald, you have Braden Campbell. The matchup is there, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup, to say the absolute least. This is going to be one that you're going to want to watch. So with that being said, we'll go into a little bit of who should get the net. Now, we've seen a little bit about Adam LaCour this season. We saw Loic Nadeau in the last game. There was a couple of errors here and there from him, but for the most part, he managed to play very well. So Adam LaCour, I would guess, would probably get the start today. But I want to talk a little bit about Loic Nadeau in his first couple of games in the MHL, his first couple of starts for the Rapids. Obviously, is 0-2 on the season, but hasn't played overly terrible, with the exception of a play last night or on Friday night rather, that would be the go-ahead goal for the Yarmouth Mariners. And I'm going to show the clip here. And this was miscommunications happen, but stuff like this cannot happen. It was a disaster of a play. Have a look.
Avro looking up ice. Hoff lines him up. Gavro, second attempt, gets it to center. Boisvert to Nadeau. Nadeau slides it down into the Rapids end. Tita with the steal. He picks the near corner and gives the Mariners.
Now, it's just little plays like that that obviously you want to watch out for and make sure that you're not making. It wasn't completely his fault. There was a miscommunication between him and the defense, but plays like that, like I said right before the clip, they cannot happen. They cannot lead to scoring chances like that. And more importantly, they cannot lead to what could have been, had it not been for that last minute goal in the third period, the eventual game-winning goal. And that's something that you want to look at as well. Now, if we compare their stats on the season, Loic Nadeau, he is 0-2, running a .326 goals against average and a .921 save percentage. So if you're not familiar with the stats, a .921 save percentage means that he's saved 92% of the shots that he's faced on the season. Adam LaCour, who is the starter currently for the Grand Falls Rapids, is 2-5-0 with a .414 goals against, so he allows an average of 4.14 goals against per game and is rocking a .900 save percentage. Now, yes, you can argue this one of two ways. Nadeau has been the better goalie statistically, but you look at the results. LaCour has the better games won. He has obviously the more shots stopped. He's got the most saves. He is the starter. But when you compare the athleticism of the two goalies, they're both very, very athletic. There is a bit of a height difference. Nadeau is obviously quite a bit taller than LaCour, but if it were me, I would probably start Adam LaCour for this one. He is just so dynamic, such a force to be reckoned with when he gets dialed in. They both are. But I think Adam LaCour, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, it seems like, from especially the last time that these two teams faced off in Bucktush when they got shut out. That was Loic Nadeau's first time. He's going to want to get in on the action and get a piece of them as well. So I would assume that Adam LaCour is going to start this game, and if he does, you're going to look for him to be dialed in, and it's not going to take very long for him to do that, but we shall see if the Rapids can stop that first early goal of the game and they can prevent that. That will be something that is really going to help them out. So like I mentioned, the keys to the game, start on time. One of the big reasons why the Rapids have lost a lot of games this season so far, why their record isn't necessarily in the positives, but it's not the worst record in the world, is those first periods are very, very sloppy. They don't start quite the way that we would like them to. It's almost like they have they are a little bit flat-footed. They're not making plays as well. It's always the first period that seems like it's the most disorganized, so to speak. But if they can get through that, and if they have a strong start to the period and continue that momentum rolling through to the second and third, they're going to have a lot of success in this game. The other thing that I mentioned is stave off those early goals. We talked about that, and it's crucial for success against a team like West Kent. You obviously want to stop them from scoring those early goals, or they're going to take that momentum and run with it throughout the game, and it's going to be very, very, very difficult for them to strike back. The third key, strike hard, strike fast, no mercy, just like Cobra Kai. There's no better way to build up on the momentum than to get that first goal, reverse the fortunes a little bit. Now, this is really going to help them out in the sense of it's going to get into their heads, throw the Steamers off balance, and it's going to force them to work a little bit extra hard to get those goals back in their favor and to tie up the game. Now, that's going to be a crucial step as well. You always want to get those first goals. Keep a neat first period and make sure that you're not surrendering those first goals as well. Brings me to the next part is who starts for West Kent. Now, there's been a lot of questions. Will Raya Stewart start tonight? Will Olivia Dallaire start tonight? The mystery remains up until game time, but let's just say that Raya Stewart does start. She's been the talk of the league for the last couple of months, and is the first female goalie to play in the league in the last 20 years. It has been very good. Was named the Rookie of the Month for September with a 3-1-0 record so far, a 2.5 goals against, and a .935 save percentage. Just an amazing start to the season for her so far. And very intriguing to note as well. Her first win in the MHL came against the Grand Falls Rapids. So let's say that she does start tonight. The Rapids are definitely going to want to get their pound of flesh as well and get that revenge for getting shut out in her first game and her first win. So if she starts tonight, you're going to want to watch for that as well. That's another big storyline as well. Coming into tonight, the West Kent Steamers obviously looking to inch closer and put a little bit of distance behind Miramichi, or Campbellton and them rather. And obviously Grand Falls, on the other hand, they want to not only resume their quest to get back to 500 hockey and to get ahead of the Miramichi Timberwolves, who are only 2 points in front of them, but they also want to kind of get that vengeance as well for being shut out by Raya Stewart as well. So I want to compare to Olivier Dallaire's stats. He is their main starter, 3-2-0-1 in the season with a 429 goals against and an 888 save percentage. Now, that seems to be a common theme as well with starters in the North Division and some starters in the South Division as well. Their starters aren't the best statistically, but that is only normal. The question remains, who will we see? Now, if all goes well for West Kent, they will likely start Olivier Dallaire. But here is the thing that is going to be interesting to note as well. Through the first 6 games that Olivier Dallaire has started this season, he's allowed 26 goals, which is an average of 4.3 goals per game. So he has not been fantastic this season. He's been all right. He's been par on the course. That's something that you're going to want to take advantage of too. You know that this goalie is not as strong as he was last season. You know that he is struggling a little bit earlier in the year, and getting that first goal is really going to help build that momentum and throw him off his game very quickly. It won't be easy, won't be an easy task. It's going to be 100% difficult, but it's going to help start that momentum up. The other storyline as well, a very well-known Grand Falls Rapid, or former Grand Falls Rapid, I should say, makes his return tonight for the first time since the trade to West Kent, and I'm talking about Devin Johnson, who sets his foot on the ice at the EP Center South Center for, like I said, the first time before that trade. Now, he came in last season as part of the Dominic LeBlanc trade, played quite a few games, and was a very pivotal part of that blue line for the Grand Falls Rapids. Makes his return tonight, and just wanted to acknowledge the fact that he is a fan favorite here in town, so welcome him back with open arms, and let's see how he does tonight. Hopefully not too well, because you want these guys to win, but welcoming back Devin Johnson in his return to Grand Falls as well. West Kent's looking to bounce back from a 7-3 loss to the Valley Wildcats on Friday night and put some distance between them and Campbellton in the standings, who are only 2 points behind them for second place in the North Division. The Grand Falls Rapids, like I mentioned, are looking to catch Miramichi and add to their record, get that vengeance, and open up the floor to make sure that things are going to go as well for them as they possibly can. Now, one thing that I wanted to note as well, two things actually. So the Alumni Spotlight we're not going to do until Friday night. We're going to take a little bit of a game off from this one, and I want to open things up to you, the fans. We're going to be taking a couple of fan questions as well, and I want you, if you have any questions, to chime in, comment below, and we will address those questions on the post-game show coming up after the game this afternoon. It's going to be fun. I want to hear what the community has to say, thoughts, comments, questions, and we'll talk about them here on the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game show coming up after the game. This is going to be a very fun one. I want to talk a little bit about the next couple of matchups as well for the Grand Falls Rapids. And next weekend, it's going to be a very, very tense weekend. The Miramichi Timberwolves are in on Friday night, October 25th, to face off against the Grand Falls Rapids. Obviously, the team that they are trying to catch, and a team who this season has played the Rapids well and has, in dramatic fashion, beaten them once and has given them a very big run for their money. Now, this is a Miramichi victory would be huge next Friday night, then followed by Edmundston on Sunday afternoon. Now, this is a crucial weekend for the Grand Falls Rapids. Reason being, not only are they trying to catch Miramichi in the standings, they're trying to also get ahead and try to excel, maybe hit Campbellton and get to that position as well. But with the Edmundston Blizzard, it's not just about giving them another loss in the season. It's also about making sure that that bragging rights stays in Grand Falls. It's such a big rivalry. We talked about that with Mike Kavanaugh. We talked about that with Eric Cormier at the beginning of the season, what it means to be a part of that rivalry. And it's always such a big deal here in the town of Grand Falls when these two teams face off against each other. It's such an exciting time, and those are the games that you look forward to. But it's two very, very, very crucial matchups that you want to watch for, especially with Edmundston coming to town on Sunday, Miramichi coming to town on Friday night. You want to get as many possible points as you can. So those are the games that you're going to want to win as well. That being said, we are going to end off the Grand Falls Rapids pregame show sponsored by Bellefleur Tire Shop, and we're going to take you into the game very shortly. We'll see you back here for the postgame tonight after the Grand Falls Rapids and the West Kent Steamers finish their game, and we will see you very, very soon.